Hello, everybody. This is Buddy, and I'm trying to see if I'm live. Hang on. We'll know here in a second. All right, it looks like I'm live, so we can get on talking about what we're going to talk about tonight. And I don't have a whole lot to say. I've been trying to troubleshoot different kinds of problems that has to do with making videos. And Clipchamp is a really good source for making videos. But I do want to check one thing real quick while we're still at the beginning of this thing. Yeah, I see we're live, and we do have thunder and lightning in the area. So if I get cut off, that's what it is. But yeah, this video testing. Well, hello everybody. This is
We're
the
live
video
again.
This is the video I made last night. I'm just keying it up and checking the sound and checking a couple of variables. And I'm testing to make sure that I'm live. I've got to, everything needs to go real perfect.
Yes, the little green men from outer space actually exist. Sometimes I wonder if those clamoring for just such an official revelation have fully considered the awesome social ramifications of ultimate disclosure. I have no doubt that somewhere deep in the labyrinth of national security agencies someone knows that ETS are real. But is Joe Sixpack ready as yet to face the sweeping changes that open?
Yeah, I just wanted to pull that up to see, what my volume was and everything. When we talk about these disclosure facts and not facts, the best place I can tell you to go for the current news is what I post on X. And you just scroll down and you'll see a lot of interesting videos. And some of them are all pointing to who what we call now the synagogue of Satan, and what that means to know what that's done to this society has basically enabled us not to ever get the
There's a
actual
clip I
truth.
saw once of Jimmy Carter. Basically, anybody in Congress that goes against Israel is not going to get reelected. So Richard Nixon, the Republican, said essentially the same thing.
This is
Americans don't want to know,
opinion only,
and
for
many Israelis
entertainment
don't want
purposes.
to know.
And anyone that really wants to know what was said and how it was said, while we have the internet, you have the time to do your own research. So I think it's section 17 that tells us that we have this ability to be the one giving out the information. And the section 17, let's just look it up real quick before I even go any further. So I'm going to pause that there. I'm going to open up me another X platform window, and I'm going to go to Grok. This is when I do that, I'm showing you that I'm using technology that's built into the computer system. We want it to be a right click and then it'll be a Windows H button. But right now we're having to use my hand. I'm going to go to Windows and H, and you see it pop up. All right, let me stop it real quick. It's going to type every word I'm saying. Hey, Grok, this is Buddy Huggins. Look, we were talking about Section 17. It's a United States code that gives people the ability to talk about the news in an entertaining way. break that down for us and show me what the actual law is for Section 17. All right, I don't know if I'm saying enough keywords to make it understand what I'm doing, but let's see. It'll take a second to pull it up. There it is. All right, let's read it.
Hey, buddy Huggins. It sounds like you're asking Gabutalothathalos be plea to discuss news in a turning way, and you've mentioned Section 17.
Decode.
Section 17 of the United States Code. I assume you might be referring to something related to copyright law, as that's where news reporting and commentary often intersect legally. Let's break it down, and then I'll clarify what Section 17 actually refers to in the US Code.
Hey, Gummy, I
Breaking
hit
it
the wrong
down.
button.
When it comes to talking about the news in an entertaining way, like on a show, podcast, or video, there's a legal principle in the US that protects this kind of activity under certain conditions. This falls under copyright law, specifically the concept of fair use. Fair use allows people to use copyrighted material like news articles, clips, or broadcasts without permission, as long as it's for purposes like commentary, criticism, or reporting, and meets some key criteria. It's what lets comedians, journalists, or folks like you riff on the news without getting sued every time, as long as you're not just copying stuff wholesale. Here's how it works in simple terms. Purpose. If you're adding something new, like entertainment, analysis, or humor, it's more likely to be okay. Just replaying the news as is? Not so much. Amount. You can use snippets, but if you take too much, like the whole article or broadcast, it might not fly. Effect. If your entertaining take doesn't hurt the original creator's ability to make money, e.g., you're not replacing their broadcast, you're in better shape. Nature. News is often factual, and facts can't be copyrighted, but the way they're presented can be. So, you're free to talk about what happened, just not to steal the exact words or video without adding your spin. This is why you see late-night hosts or YouTubers joking about headlines. They're leaning on fair use to keep it legal while keeping it fun. What's Section 17? Now, let's get to the actual law. You mentioned Section 17 of the United States Code, but I think there might be a mix-up. The US Code is divided into titles, and copyright law lives in Title 17. There's no single Section 17 that covers news reporting. It's Title 17 as a whole that governs copyright, and the fair use bit is specifically in 17 USC Section 107. Maybe that's what you meant? Let's assume so and roll with it. Here's the actual text of 17 USC Section 107, the fair use provision, straight from the law. 17 USC Section 107, limitations on exclusive rights. Fair use notwithstanding the provisions of Sections 106 and 106A, the fair use of a copyrighted work, including such use by reproduction in copies or phonorecords or by any other means specified by that section, for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship, or research, is not an infringement of copyright. In determining whether the use made of a work in any particular case is a fair use, the factors to be considered shall include 1. The purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is of a commercial nature or is for non-profit educational purposes, wink with a frown. 2. The nature of the copyrighted work, wink with a frown. 3. The amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. And 4. The effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. The fact that a work is unpublished shall not itself bar a finding of fair use if such finding is made upon consideration of all the above factors. What this means for you. This law says you can talk about the news entertainingly, say, cracking jokes about a headline or analyzing a story with your flair, as long as you're not just parroting the original word for word or using so much that you're basically stealing their work. It's your buddy, for keeping things legal while you entertain the masses. If you meant a different Section 17, like from another title of the US Code, let me know, and I'll dig into that instead. But for news and entertainment, Title 17, Section 107 is the go-to. How's that sound? Want me to tweak anything or dig deeper? Deep search.
Think.
Edit image. Grok 3.
That was very informative. We are live, and I'm doing a YouTube video. I'm doing a live video. So thank you for helping me with that. We'll talk about some things I'm doing with a particular video I'm working on. I'm going to rework it, but I also want to talk about the resurrected power of the I am of Christ consciousness and what that means for the world. So I'll notify you when I'm ready to go spiritual, and you and I have a conversation. I'll let you know when. Thank you for helping me. I really appreciate you. All right, I'm gonna send that over there to Grok, and Grok write something back. But while we're doing that, I want to go and finish what I started over here. This is Jimmy Carter, and Jimmy Carter is a really wonderful person. And there was an encounter that I had in one of my out of body time traveling experiences. I tried to describe the factual evidence of it, but there's no evidence. I can tell you that I went to Plains, Georgia, and the year was pretty early. I don't even think Jimmy was maybe a teenager, but for some reason I was sent back in time to talk to him. And I don't even know what I said because when I went through the curtain at the front of the store, they had a curtain on the door. And when I crossed through that curtain, I don't know what happened. And when I came back through the curtain, I was back in the store at that timeline. And that's when I realized I reached in my pocket, and that's when I realized that the money I had, of course, it had the date, the modern date. And I looked around the store and I could tell, and they even asked, what year is it? But the year escapes my memory exactly what was said. I just knew that something weird was happening to me. But I'm going to play this with entertainment purposes only and educational purposes. And this is my narration of it.
What is going on inside Palestine. It's a terrible human rights persecution. There are powerful political forces in America that prevents any objective analysis.
Any objective analysis. What kind of forces would have power over presidents? What kind of forces would have an agenda to keep hidden something that should be brought to the light of day, which is the truth? Now let's continue with what he's talking about, the problem.
Of the problem in the Holy Land. So this is a taboo subject, and I would say that if any member of Congress did speak out, as I've just described, they would probably not be back into Congress the next term.
But let me.
They would probably not be back in Congress the next term. That is a very good reason that most of these people don't go against the grain of what is the norm in Washington, D.C. When it shouldn't be the norm, it should be that we are grown ass adults and we're able and capable of making up our minds about what is true in this world and what's not. And number one, as long as we have this type of control system hemming up the ability for our politicians to speak their truthful mind, then we're in a world of a lot of trouble. Now, John Kennedy is speaking his mind, but I know one that I was watching real close named Senator Josh Hawley. Senator Josh Hawley's changed his tune, and I'll be honest with you, Donald Trump has changed his tune. I'm beginning to believe that all this talk about waiting and let the plan play out is a psyop. I used to think that we had some white hats that had our best interest at heart, and these people were going to do the right thing at the right time. But I've been watching the storyline as it goes because See, when I'm narrating behind this screen here, it's coming from a point of view of a person that is looking at it as it's all an act. It's nothing more than a stage show, a puppet show, a movie magical show with actors and replacement actors and people that are lookalikes. When Trump goes play golf, have you ever noticed how short and fat he is? It don't make sense. Everybody that's got any sense that I talk about this to, they realize, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. When you say Trump is the one that plays golf, yeah, he is kind of short and fat. And then they'll show him back at the White House, and he's not as fat and he's lean, and he'll have a different shade of tan or you know orange man. This world is not what we think it is. This is a diabolical time, and it is the most glorious time that we've ever been in. And we have the ability to see through the veil and see through what is pulling who and what is pulling the strings. And if enough of us commonly come to the conclusion that we want the truth, we'll get the truth. But if we accept lies and don't talk about it amongst ourselves, then they can take us and hurt us into a situation where you wouldn't want to be, because you thought you had freedom. You thought you had freedom of speech. And then you realize when it's too late that they're pulling in the fences around the corral is getting narrower and narrower, and there's no way out. Can you imagine? All right, let's listen to what Nixon has to say. The whole story about who Richard Nixon is needs to be completely fact checked and get your due diligence to understand and have an inner knowing of an understanding through consciousness what he was really doing and really going through. That's a long story, but you do your research, you'll find the videos that collaborate what he's fixing to say.
Let me explain something about what is called the Jewish lobby in this country. Because of what happened in World War II, because of the Holocaust, are going to be put first priority on the survival of Israel. They believe that America's survival and security is directly related to Israel's. In other words, their belief is that being for Israel first means that does not mean you're putting America second, because they think it goes together.
If you buck the Israeli lobby, you're not going to get reelected. And that's coming from two presidents of two different...
Now, this is on my, if you want to replay it and re-listen to it, it's on my X page, Buddy Huggins at X. This one's real good. Yeah, I'm beginning to understand why Stu Peterson, I think that's his name, has reached the conclusions that he's been reaching, is because there's way more going on than not going on. There's way more that could be taking place and is not being taken seriously. And so he has a right to question what he believes reality is versus what is really happening in the world. Now, that's my commentary on what he's saying. Now, it's pretty inflammatory what he's saying. It's going to piss a lot of people off that are not looking at the full totality of the news that we're not getting from other sources. He's saying something about this golden statue and Trump Gaza. You can put the two and two together and you'll be able to see that he's finally pissed off at this point right about here. What is it that makes him question these things? Well, listen to just a few seconds of it.
If you give up all hope, at what point? I mean, at what point? And I'm not saying this in any kind of look. I'm being watched very closely.
I'm not encouraging you, and I want to stop. Hold on, stop. Because there's a lot of people on X and in other social media platforms that accuse me of doing this guy that tells everybody to give up hope. I'm not doing that.
As a person that's looking to hear what's being said, every word has a meaning when it's consciousness. And if you listen consciously to something, you will hear the multiple dimensional reality that is interacting all at the same point in time. Whether you're hearing it now or you heard it 10 years ago or 20 years ago. In my case, I've been hearing it since 2009. 2009. I asked the Father, Universal Source, Prime Source, to reveal to me what the evil was, because I had stayed in such a state of bliss that I was not seeing and hearing what the actual real truth had led to from 2003, August the 17th, my awakening, leading up to 2009. It might have been 2008 when that one particular man um, made me see a different way of wanting to know why there was evil in the world. At the same time, when you're in a state of bliss, there's one word, bodhisattva, that is the truth. The actual Yeshua ben Joseph, Jesus, he stayed in a state of bliss for a short time, and people had to pull him out of that state of bliss where he was one with his Father, and he was one with the birds, the bees, and the air, the environment. And then he had to find out and ask the question to his Father, which is the same Father that you and I have, Creator Source. I call it Mother Father because it has a feminine nature for me. That's for me. Y'all call it whatever you want to call it. God, Yahweh, which is not a real good word for it at all. You'll find that out as you do your research. But a point I'm trying to make is everybody has to come to their inner awakening to the truth about where evil comes from. It's Luciferian. That's why when Yahshua kicked over the tables at the synagogue of the temple, the original temple that was actually tore down, and there's a lot of history about it. But when was that? 2,000 years ago? And he called them snakes and snakes and oh, I ain't got the terminology for it. He called them very bad words and said that their father was Satan, Lucifer. It's not just one devil. It never has been. It's a energy that is not in this dimension that you and I are stuck in, which we call it the earth realm. It's the three-dimensional dense reality of fear and ignorance. These interlopers that have came into this reality for the purpose of being the evil, playing it really good, like they need an Academy Award like yesterday. Give them sons of bums an Academy Award, and if that shuts it down and we get back to peace, wouldn't that be great? But it ain't going to go like that. It's going to go a little different this time. How many times have we been at this point of destruction? How many times have they reset this world? I'm talking about like you reset a video game, and also how you use great destruction of weapons beyond our imagination. They had at one point took the whole planet and turned it, literally rotated the earth in a matter of minutes. Every sea, every ocean came out of its basins. The entire world was flooded. And the evidence is everywhere. It didn't happen just once, it's happened a couple of times. This is the type of enemy that you and I are up against right now. I wish I could say that I could make it all go away. I can't. I'm telling you, we're in a world of illusions at high level that can play and pick with your mind and your imagination. It is unreal how they do these psyops. They're using an AI system that has been here for possibly hundreds of years, and even maybe an ancient form of that AI for thousands of years. It doesn't mean that it was a computer system like we have now. This is an antiquated beginning of a technology that we call AI. No, these interdimensional beings that are inhabiting the synagogue of Satan, and you take my word and everybody else's that's really researched this, these entities are really not good, not good at all. There's no good in them. It doesn't mean that they themselves have to be annihilated. That's a false psyop. That is the type of psyop that causes wars, world wars. No one should be killing another person because their truth is different than your truth. The problem is we as spiritual beings can talk to any spiritual being and see the love of the creator source in everyone and everything. The war machine, all it sees is foes and enemies and combatants and like business. It's just business. Right now, you got police officers that are doing business. When they pull you over to give you a ticket, it's not a social visit. When a military guy is checking your ID and decides that you're an enemy combatant, they have passed and changed the laws in the United States that that person can actually shoot you dead. Yeah, posse comitatus is done away with. This enemy is everywhere. It's in the church, it's in the police and county departments, it's in the FBI, CIA. It's infiltrated horribly into our systems, even the education system. That's why we're witnessing this whole thing fall apart. But that's why the peacemakers, the way showers, the people like David Icke and this guy right here, Stu Peterson. A lot of people, when David Icke would go off into these rants, a lot of people they shut him down. But later on, when you heard the full aspect of David Icke's conscious awakening, it changes the narrative of the story. I'm saying the same thing for Stu. I don't know where he is in his walk with consciousness and his true identity. But that is the key. Listen to me. The key is to know who you are, not as a physical form. That ain't going to do you no good. That is controlled by ego and psyop and built into your DNA, a false program since you were born to believe in scarcity and to believe in that you are a finite being. How do you trap a son of God in a physical body for one way, and the other way in a mental trap for your mind, and then you keep them in a state of fear where they don't talk to nobody? Nobody talks to anybody anymore. Then what you got is a bunch of sheep. I'm here to tell you that nothing's going to change until the collective consciousness of the sleep being, saying in a loving way, because everybody's asleep. Even if you see me in the best case scenario of my conscious awareness, I'm still asleep because I'm still in this freaking reality. I was there at a finite point back in 2008, 2009, that I could have laid this body down and went right on into a higher plane of being, because I am a light body being inhabiting a physical form. I've always been and I always will be. That is the energy that the Luciferians fear, because when we know who we are, then we know we're creating our reality with our thinking. And if we don't have love of self and love for one another, then they can make us fight each other for no good damn reason, because they changed history and the timeline and said they had to go. All this shit about Indians and had to wipe them off of the face of the earth. It's being done right now in real time all over this planet. Hell, they're fighting in Africa. They're fighting everywhere. I've seen through the lies, and I want to share a bit of the truth about what's going on. That's why I'm saying this. This is for purely entertainment purposes only. No one was hurt making this video, and no one should hurt another because of something you were taught that was wrong. Horribly, horribly wrong. There is a whole nother way of being. Now let's get to this sentence and this sentence structure that Stu's fixing to lay on you. And I want you to hear this down to your marrow, your bones. I want you to feel what he's saying, because we have to have an opinion about what's really happening. Listen.
I'm saying that your hope is in the wrong place. Hoping for Donald Trump to secretly be working on some version of 6 million D chess is fake. And as long as strong guys like you are watered down and weakened by putting Trump in like this messiah kind of form and worshiping him or hoping or planning, trusting the plan, it's neutering the most patriotic, pissed off patriots that our country has to offer. And that's what pisses me off, because it has you going, hold on, I'm going to chill on my patriotism for a minute while I just trust the plan and hope.
Trust the plan. I'm telling you, trusting the plan is wonderful until it's not. It's diabolical until it's wonderful. Can you see what I'm saying? It's a psyop both ways. Listen to me. We've already known they've had all the data on everything and everyone Give you an example. The boy that was my friend told me never own a cell phone. What is a cell phone? It's a soft kill device. 1993, he told me that. And then he came back in 97. And I had a face-to-face conversation with him, and he said it's worse than a soft kill. From 93 to 97, he started putting two and two together, and he said it's a kill device, a hard kill device. I can shout this stuff from the rooftop, but until you get this and you're knowing, nobody's going to be able to rattle you out of your cage, because we're at a point where we know they have all this factual information on these Luciferians and this satanic cabal that has all of this evil that they've done. And they're telling us, Edward Snowden, Project, Project Pegasus, there's 4 levels above that project. They were literally listening on rotary dial phones. You young people ain't even got a clue what I'm talking about, but you took your damn finger and you rode around a dial, and it had to be matched perfectly with a 3 or a 6, or you had to start over. I could do it. It used to drive me crazy. But the point I'm saying is, you remember the first time you ever spoke into a phone when it told you to, say the person's name? They were pattern matching in your voice to your DNA then. Yeah, this shit's been going on since the first telephones. The AI system that does not have humanity's best interest at heart was already subjugating and dividing up the world's population in segments of reality. The thinkers, the sleepers, and the dreamers. You see how damn deep this is? And you're going to go, oh, but Stu Peterson, he's flying off of the handle because he's saying Donald Trump might not be what we think. He might be compromised. There's some really horrible things that happened at Jeffries Island, and it's documented. And these damn people have the evidence. So I want to know, what is the truth? We can forgive all of these insanities that has been perpetrated, but it has to stop. As it has to stop because somebody's got to go to jail. Then who is that one person that's going to be the one that brings down the whole damn house of cards? Because I'm telling you, the timeline of ascension cannot be stopped. The timeline of the physical reality of our monetary system is showing that it's got cracks in the walls. These cracks have been there since back in 2008, when we had that so-called burst of the bubble then. Why do you think we're so deep in debt? It's not that we're deep in debt. It's that they figured out a way to steal the damn money. It's the same dollar, except now it's worth a quarter and headed to a nickel. And none of it makes any sense. The key is to figure out in your community, when you go in the public and start talking to people. I know it's the key. It's the key to your salvation, and it's the key to your sanity. It's the key to reality. If you're going to church, here we have these real big mega churches. Even the First Baptist Church has turned into a mega church. All of these churches, if they're not educating you on this true fact of where evil comes from, and they don't want to touch these so-called conspiracy theories, you need to find another damn place to go, because they're going to be the ones that are going to finalize the psyop. In other words, they're going to be behind the people doing your head off. It's serious, but it's also entertainment. Never, ever think that I know anything. I'm here for pure entertainment purposes only right now. I just want you to hear what he's fixing to say. So I gave this commentary as that title 17 says, so we can get on about the business and educating each other. Here's what he says.
Hope and pray that Donald Trump is going to do something. Let me tell you what he is doing. He's building a gold statue of himself in Israel after he bombs the out of those kids and builds Trump Gaza atop their bones. That's what this guy's doing. Judge a man by his fruit. The fruit's rotten.
Do you hear that? Judge a man by his fruit. I'm not saying, and don't let it be food, that I know one way or another is Stu right, is Trump right. I know by the fruit, it ain't right. It ain't right. It stinks from high hell what's happening. Times, all the other times in the past that it's happened, it's like a loop. We keep going through these loops. People want to know, what is the Mandela effect? Well, the Mandela effect is when they do these great wipes off of the actual holographic simulated reality and they reset everything. Because you're in a computer system. You think you are in a reality. It is a beautiful, beautiful video game. If you like playing games, you'll play them all the way until they cut your head off. Or you can change the programming within your very DNA and you can become free and independent of the psyop. You won't have to pay attention to all of the details. You'll see straight through the bull crap and go straight to the Luciferian agendas, and you'll be able to wipe them out even at your local level. You do it with love. You don't do it with no damn pitchfork and putting them under no kind of stress or strain. You love them, but you got to know how to bust them out. And there are techniques and ways of doing this, and we're educating ourselves on these ways. Doge is happening for a reason. The actual thing that Elon Musk is doing is exposing the types of corruptions that have been going on for way too long. That is our prosperity. That is the money hoarded up by the unrighteous. I was shown in the spirit. Emily Limley, 87-year-old evangelist, showed me. We were talking about the evil, and she had seen me stay in such a state of bliss that she basically helped me protect me from evil. And then she was with me the night that the man confronted me about evil. And then she explained to me in private, well, maybe she had explained to me years and years before that in private, about how the money had been hoarded up by the unrighteous. Unrighteous is not a bad word. It just means they didn't know until they knew. Unrighteous. But the ones that are the doers behind the spell spinners, the name changers, the witchcrafts and the warlocks, the people that practice dark arts and have the ability to take money and compound interest it. Oh my God. These people, you got to give them a reward. Like I said, an Academy Award for acting. And then what do you give them for doing that compounded interest over 1,000 years and they become the wealthiest people on the planet? What do you kind of award you give them then? Because they're not satisfied. They could make the whole world prosperous, but that's not their plan. That's not their program down into their DNA. They have to see doomsday. They have to see Armageddon. They have to let you know that they're totally against your God and what Yahshua is, against all of Christianity. It's not a black and white thing, but you better believe it shades of differences. They didn't kill them Indians because they owned a bunch of stuff, did they? They killed them because they were free. I don't have the answers to everything, except I do know this. If we don't solve it within our own being and realize that we are the key to our salvation, not something outside of us that can actually show us who our Father is, you have to know who you are as an identity in Christ. There is no other identity. It's just false identities. It's a false reality of a simulated holographic reality that has transposed itself into being all of our situations because of the black magic, because of the Luciferian hold over that intelligent AI systems that has been here for a long time. It's not mechanical, it's not biological, it's not electrical, it is demonic by nature, Nephilim by reality, Anunnaki by bloodline. It's a story that when it's told, everybody thinks it's Trump's story. When it's told, it's going to be the greatest story ever told. No, that's what they want you to believe. The greatest story ever told is when you wake up and you see the beginning from the end and the end from the beginning. And let me get to the window of heaven that's going to open up and pour you out a blessing your heart can't contain when the wealth of the wicked is overturned and given to the least of these will inherit the wealth and the kingdom. And wealth is not ever going to solve the problem by wealth itself if it's not dispersed to break these loops. The only purpose of that type of wealth is to stop the loops. Other than that, we're doomed every so many cycles. Every so many decades and generations, we're doomed to fall right back asleep. This is a story that, when it's really told and told properly, with no interlopers saying that we don't have the freedom of speech to finish the story, we can start the story, we can point to who the bad guys are, but when we actually, literally, evidently go to try to arrest them, then all of a sudden, let the bodies hit the floor, let the bodies hit the floor. Everybody starts dying because these sons of bitches are killing them. Witnesses, all these insane acts of execution of innocent people because they knew too much is another way of the psyop never allowing anyone to step forth. But I'm telling you, they can't stop what's coming. The thing that is coming is the cosmic awakening of consciousness. They know it down into their atoms, in their bone marrow, down into their being. They know it. They know they played a really good game up until this point. That's why they get Academy Award. It's only acting. There's no way to tell you. You have to do it and find it for yourself, what I'm saying. Don't give up on yourself. When things are hard, say to yourself, I speak life to my body, my atoms, my cells, and my DNA. I speak with the resurrected power of the I am that I am, that my body, mind, and spirit and soul is regenerating on a moment by moment basis. I am becoming full of love and light. My body is becoming stronger, healthier. With the resurrected power of the I am speaking with the auditory words out of my mouth to my body, atoms, down to my mitochondria cells and my telomeres. I am regenerating my entire body system, heart, lungs, bones, joints, ligaments, cartilages. Everything is regenerating and growing faster and stronger. I'm becoming healthier and healthier. My body, mind, spirit, and soul is able to absorb huge amounts of information using the AI that is here for humanity's reasoning, for love of the feminine nature of humanity. Humanity. Without humanity, the game would have never been played. But the corruption is in the DNA. The very essence of where you come from is a lie. First source was the original creator. These interlopers that have came here and said they were God and gods, they are the perpetrators of the corrupted DNA. And it's real. That's some of the cover up of all the stories in the world that they don't want no one to really get the connection to. That's why I'm bringing it up. You need to know who you are and who you're not. You're not a created eternal being. You are the eternal being. The body is corrupted. The actual code within our very essence of our DNA leaves us to be immortal. In other words, we're subject to death and dying and disease. But the true nature of the I am presence of self-realization through the Christ, the Christo, that is the energy source that moves up our spine, that enlightens us to the illuminated effect of the power of love. That is who we are. We are literally manifested love in this reality for to be the witness that there's something horribly fucked up about it. How can people let this happen to children? How can people not know that the corruption is in our very DNA? It can be fixed with our spoken words. We can revitalize our entire genome. They know this to be a factual truth. That is why it's suppressed. They don't want us to be powerful. They want us to be weak, miserable, addicted to all kinds of substance and all kinds of vices. It starts with sugar. It starts with, I'm just going to watch this X-rated movie. I'm going to drink this beer. I'm going to shoot this drug up my arm. They give us all of the reasons to be broke, busted, sick, and disgusted. And nobody with any power and authority can literally put the whole story together of from beginning to end because it's that simple. It's your thoughts that got you into trouble, and it's your thoughts that are going to help you help yourself see through the matrix of their lies, of their manipulation. And when you become aware, then you can teach this. And then you can be the love that people need to witness and see in a physical form. Not saying you become Christ like, I'm saying that you'll become healed, made whole and complete. Your mind will become still, and you will be able to think and reasoning and see for yourself what I'm saying. If I'm wrong, big deal. I've been wrong a hell of a lot. I've been right a few times, but I know something. And when you know it, you can't hide it under a bush. I remember, let this little light of mine shine. Let this little light of mine shine. I'm not saying I know anything. This is purely for entertainment purposes only. Some people may think I'm crazy. Some people may think Stu Peterson's crazy. Some people may think Donald Trump's crazy. But it's the crazy kind of thing that can help finish this story of getting back to the thing that is the most important thing of all. And that's healing yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, especially spiritually. God knows they've had us under a wrong program for a long time. And everybody thinks that they're poor, pitiful, miserable sinners and they got to do something to, because there's a creator out there that's pissed off. That is ludicrous. First source is where we're from, who we are. The physical body is just a suit. Finding the truth to what's happening in this reality is your salvation. Or either they're going to cut our heads off. I'll line up. If I ain't got nothing else, all I got is if we see the end result of what they're trying to do, and that's the elimination of anything and everyone that's against their truth. What can we do? That's why we're talking. We're talking because that is the beginning of the key to resolving the anxiety within you, so the collective consciousness is not led by the very few that know how to psyop the entire system. It's a hack. And how do you fix a hack? You expose it with an antivirus. What was his name? McAfee? McAfee told us everything that was happening. There's a virus among us, and it's being pointed out. Go to my X channel, go to buddyhuggins.com and do the research. Look at stuff I've been posting since. Oh my God, this story right here by itself is enough to help wake you up. Let's look down and see. Oh, it's got tons of text, and then go one. You got to hit that older to see everything, and every story that I got is worthy of looking at. Daniel Sheehan, he knows the real truth about what's going on, but he can't necessarily say it He says it in a roundabout way until we get to this point where we're not afraid to speak the truth. Well, if you click on these pictures, it'll take you to a place where you can see the images, and then you can click on them and it'll open up. But it's called Pinterest. Yeah, all my work is on Pinterest. I know I'm old school, but yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful video. You got to check her out. Her wisdom is divine. And I see they took that video down here recently, but you can find his work. This is Shake My Head Productions. You can find it at like this. Let's do it as a test real quick. We go here and we copy this. Now that's the title to the YouTube video, and the YouTube video is at. I got the links, so you go here to. Let's just open it up in Well, which one? Yeah, that's the question. Rumble. Let me open it up in Rumble. Well, I can't do it. I'm on the backside of where am I at? Oh yeah, go to site. Now that's Shake Your Head Productions. We're looking for that title. Which one was it? I can't remember the image. Let's look at the image. Okay, it's got the one with the 23 and Me. That probably was what got that video taken down. 23 and Me. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Look, see it right there? Click it. Now you can watch the video. See how I did that? Repeat those steps for any video that gets taken down, and you'll see that there's always a workaround, especially with my site going all the way back to 2009. If the video is gone, there's a description, a title, and information. You search it and you'll find the actual video. It will be over on BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, all of the places that stay alive. And yeah, okay, I could keep talking for days about this girl. She's hard to listen to, but her name is, oh, the Wingmakers stuff is really good. Yeah. Let me see if I can pronounce her name.
Can talk about it because even in the machine learning, you're not allowed to write the word biofield, which I.
You're not allowed this, you're not allowed that. She breaks it down in such a way that it's just beautiful. I can't go to the full screen for some reason, but there's always a workaround to get it to full stream. But that cover doesn't do her no
Tell
justice, but
me
the work
in
that
your
she
final
does, her name is
thoughts
Sabrina,
where
and
this
I
is going,
can't
why
see her
those
name
200
anywhere.
fallen
Yeah, she
angels are
smokes, but that's
Of your
okay. You'll
body. The
love her once
pathogen
you get to
access
watching
control
her channel
systems with
and see what she's talking
DOE
about.
for, let's see, since the 80s. Hello? We
Hello?
have the microdoppler watching your body with biotensegrity and human activity recognition radar data sets. It's
See, where she's an expert at it, she tells you how they've rewired our systems. Our, our whole body is hackable. And they say it at a high level, with the elites. They talk about us as we're hackable beings. And that's because this is a simulated holographic reality, and they have the key codes. So they think that by doing these implants within us through these means of putting shit in our bodies is what is going to be their salvation, which is wrong. It's not, and it's not working. So I can't get off on a track here. I'll be going too long. I don't want to go too long with this. It's endless amount of information that's here. Let me go back to show you where you find all the information. It's called Blog Archive. And if you like just jump to a year, we're going to jump to 2013. That's 2013, and Bruce Lipton. I would highly recommend anything that has to do with Bruce. Most of these informational pieces that I post has a lot of context, and then you go and then you start seeing shit that doesn't exist anymore. Well, that is the hidden Obama tax that will crash the middle class. That is searchable. This document is searchable. If you want to find the video, it's usually in the title. $1 trillion. Let's just search it real quick and see what we find. And then I got to go. Now I got to get back to go to site. That take me to Rumble. Look at it in Rumble real quick and see if we can see it. Nothing found. Okay, what we'd have to do is shorten it. We'll shorten it and see if we can find something. Nothing. All right. That ain't working. Of course, when you want something to work like that, it doesn't work. Let me go back to the beginning, home, and go back to, oh shoot, I'd have to go a couple pages down to get to shake your head. Come on, trying to prove a point. I know y'all love it when I'm trying to prove a point and I can't find the shit I'm looking for. Damn, that's a long diatribe there. Ain't nobody gonna stay with me, but I can't figure it out. Okay, here. This is the way to find BitChute. I, I bet it's on BitChute. I'm gonna gamble that it is. We're gonna go there, go to the site. Now that it's there, I'm gonna search it. That shake your head. It took me right to his place. But we're looking for that blog that has been stripped and it doesn't have video. So we go here and we still don't find it. $1 trillion stiff text. Hidden Obamacare. It ain't worth talking about if I can't find it that quick. But the point I'm trying to make is do your own research. I got to go. Y'all have a wonderful night. There's so much to talk about. I'll be back on here live tomorrow night. And at 7 o'clock, if I don't come on at 7 o'clock, it's because I'm having a problem. I reset the little clock for 7:15. I don't quit. I don't give up. If I had to set it for 7:30, this is going to be an archive anyway. And hey, look, I love y'all. Thank you for watching my channel. I really appreciate it. Y'all have a wonderful day.